Hi there, my name is Morgan Risden and I'm the creator of Center Studio, where I teach people skills to feel more comfortable more often. Now recently I was collaborating with a friend of mine in New York City and we were having a conversation where she mentioned just offhand, self-care is the new healthcare nowadays. And this particular individual is not an Alexander Technique teacher, but she is in the health and wellness industry. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's actually all Alexander Technique. I think this work is all about self-care. And I think for many people, I know my students and myself in the past when I was a student, struggle with how do we describe Alexander Technique and how do we talk about it. Sometimes people want to put it into posture or into a modality that helps with chronic pain or reoccurring pain or whatever. And sometimes it can get a little ambiguous about what is this work. And one of the principles of Alexander Technique is this idea of awareness. And I think that when we become, as individuals, self-aware, we have the ability to better care for ourselves. So let me explain what I mean by that. I think many times often people will go to a specialist, they'll go to their doctor, they'll say, I have this problem. And yet they don't really know even where to begin with telling them all the symptoms, because there's a lack of awareness in most cases, not in all cases, but in many cases where people say I don't know when this started or how long it lasts or what brings it on or what have you. Or maybe people do, but it's not all inclusive. Maybe it's just very distinct. It's oh yeah, when I'm at my computer, it happens after 12 o'clock and usually in the afternoon I've got chronic back pain, right? Sometimes it's very specific. And I think for many people, it's harder for us to kind of expand that awareness to other areas. For instance, when we're not in pain, right? Or when we're not uncomfortable. I think then is when we most often are taking ourselves for granted and we're just expecting our bodies to function optimally and at their best. And I think that in order to provide ourselves with the best health care, it is to be taking care of ourselves. And so knowing ahead of time when things are a little bit too much or when we're pushing ourselves beyond the brink of, what's comfortable for the sake of a deadline, or maybe because this is what I always do. I always go running on such and such day at this hour, right? And being able to really look at it and say, I'm aware that I always do that, but maybe this week that's not in my best interest. And so when we raise that awareness, that self-awareness where we can be reflective and where we can be present with ourselves, I'm going to suggest to you guys that this is when the whole health really lends itself to being available to us, because we now know, where am I interfering with my health? Where am I getting in my own way? Where are other people getting in my way and not helping me, right? And then we have better control over what choices we make on a day-to-day basis so that we feel better. Now, this is not something that you're gonna wake up tomorrow and be able to implement. I don't think anything in this world of ours is that simple. However, I do believe that with small steps and with practice and persistence, any change is possible. So I'm gonna suggest to you all that perhaps you start practicing a little bit of self-care, and with that, meaning more awareness in your day-to-day life, just noticing, how do I feel in my body? Is there something I could do to make myself feel better? And if so, maybe doing a little bit more of what is gonna make you feel better. All right, until next time, friends, if you haven't already, I would love if you would subscribe. You can do so by hitting the button below. All right, until next time, ciao.